Coach start us off on an opening statement,
Yeah.
and then we'll go straight to questions.
First and foremost, exciting week for the Bulldogs. Shout out, like I said, last press conference to football, who had an unbelievable game with toughness. And then for us to come in and have a tough game, there's a good vibe. Want to give a shout out to men's basketball, Chris Jans, and the men's team. Wish them good luck here today. Also a shout out to women's soccer and an awesome game against the #1 team in the country in Arkansas. And then obviously Friday is going to be awesome with the baseball game with the alumni and the sold out seat backs that we've already have. And then most importantly, our game that we're here to talk about today. 6,000 students. I talked about this last year. This is one of my favorite games of the year because it's bigger than basketball. And what I'm talking to my young women about is we have an opportunity for that one-time kid who maybe has a mom and dad that has a hard time getting them here, that they can change the needle by a kid's game with coming with their schoolmates, and they may have never played basketball, but they might leave out of here inspired, that pick it up, and we could be talking about a future Olympian or somebody who's playing professional because of what this opportunity presents, and that's what I'm trying to help my young women understand. Outside of playing a great team in Georgia State, which I mentioned has all my attention because Gene Hill, the head coach, is a really good friend, but he's also a great coach. They've gotten better every single year. The wins have gone up, and then they just put up, I just got done watching the film. Let me make sure I say this correctly, 108 points on opening night. So they want to play fast, they want to get after it, and then obviously they're going to come in here not scared because they took down Georgia at Georgia last year. So a lot of good energy with the Bulldogs, and then most importantly, a big game for us.
When you reviewed the season opener from a couple nights ago,
yeah,
did anything change or stand out from what you saw reviewing?
Man, just first of all, really happy on the defensive end. Right, I keep saying that's a big win for us. I see Davidson getting 20 wins this year. So when the selection committee looks back on that, that's going to be a huge opening day win. And then obviously there's things that we got to grow and get better. The silly fouls that were unnecessary, we're going to show those today. The turnovers will clean up because of just the chemistry and knowing each other. I've told you all about that. When you have so many new faces and pieces, we need to play. We need to get better. We need to get comfortable in the system, which those things will happen. And then the good thing is, even when you make mistakes, the things I was excited about was the multiple efforts on the defensive end. And I'm going to start off with my two freshmen. Madison Francis, currently, we were just talking statistics. There's maybe one more game today, I think. Yeah, Texas A&M. She'll lead everybody in the country in the SEC in blocks on opening night. Like, her effort to go pursue the ball in the defensive end is special. And then Jayla Lampley also doesn't get enough credit for when she's on the ball guarding and then what she does off the ball that makes our defense better. And I'm excited when you got two freshmen who can come and play on the defensive end along with a group of seniors, how great we can become. And that's going to be my message today, is keep moving that needle. Let's learn from that game, but most important, let's try to go 1-0 here on Friday with the right mindset.
You talked a lot about some of the unknown players and the international players that Davidson had, and Inez Garcia being, a bigger guard and kind of presenting some physical mismatches for you guys. I guess, how big was that test for this group to go up against?
Yeah, it was great, to your point, because that's what the SEC is, right? It's long, it's lanky. We got some great film today where we didn't fight enough in the post coverage that we want to do, because they're 1 through 5, everybody can post up. So it was a great early test for us to acknowledge and clean up that we've got to do a better job of getting around, and then most importantly, having great weak side help. Because like I told you all, we're not as tall as last year, but we're quicker and longer. And so we've got to scrap. We got to claw and fight and use our length, like you saw in our baseline out of bounds defense. And if we do that, we can be one heck of a team that can create turnovers to get out in the open floor and play really fast.
Was that maybe a factor in only 9 attempts from the three-point line? I know Destiny had 5 on her own, but is that something you're looking to maybe give the green light to some more players going forward?
Yeah, no, but I think it was credit to their defense. They switched a lot, so it's what's the game provide based on the defensive coverage. So they were really pressed up and wanted one-on-one. opportunities and try to make you score over their length. So I think that's just more of a game-to-game base based on what the defense wants to do. And if they want to play ugly like that, you could see, which I like, we can win ugly against a good team. I think the only thing that was ugly that I think I can speak for all our fans is obviously we got to be dialed in on the free throw line. We got to make those when they count, and we'll continue to work on that. You know, the 2 exhibition games, we've shot phenomenally, so I'm not really worried, right? And I know, you know, but every game that matters. And then obviously the layups. I'm hoping some of that was opening day jitters and you know, just the excitement. I think Favor probably ran out of the hump on the first layup. She was going so hard, so let's slow down, go up with 2 feet, and finish those bunnies. And this should be a team that should be able to score 70 plus every night.
Coach, you don't have many 11 a.m. starts, especially during the week. How different is it preparing for an early start like that?
Yeah, great. That's a great question. I actually love it for multiple reasons. One is, you know, every basketball team in the country plays in holiday tournaments. So Thanksgiving tournaments like this year, we're going to play early. So this is going to prep us for that huge, like I said last year when we played Utah and South Florida, we're going to probably play a great MTSU or Providence team that we need to be ready. So this will help us 3 weeks from now. And then obviously the SEC tournament. You know, you might be that 11 a.m. game that we can come back to this and say, hey, where was your preparation? You know, can you recall, you know, eating breakfast earlier, you know, trying to get yourself ready so when those big games come down the line, we're prepared for those opportunities.
You mentioned getting players back to their previous career highs, especially Chris and Treyana. How do you feel like they played the other night?
Yeah, Chris got some bad luck, right? That's the beauty of basketball, and that's what I tell each one of my young women is the game's not fair. Right, she's played absolutely awesome in our 2 exhibition games, and then she had 3 fouls in the first quarter. I'm an analytics guy, and you know you play percentages of kids not getting a 3rd foul, and she might define the analytics. But what I love about that kid is she laughed about it. She had no bad body language, and she was huge. So I'm expecting big for her. And then who was the other one? Rich. Oh, Rich is gonna be fine. Rich is so excited to play. She hasn't played that many minutes in a while. And that's what I try to tell her to focus on is you've gotten an opportunity, which we keep talking about. Enjoy that opportunity, and then you got to seize the minutes you're given, and there's no doubt I think she'll bounce back this second game.
I think it was your first year go up to play South Dakota in a tough game. And
Facts.
it seems like you like scheduling these kind of games early where you can put yourself in almost a tournament environment of, you know, coming down to the last few possessions of the games. I guess – what's the value of that, especially when you have a new team that's playing together for the first time? Yeah,
that's another great question. Yeah, I just think there's a beautiness of it that we got to find out who we are early because there's no doubt, like we said, the SEC is the toughest conference in the country. So the quicker in an early setting with so many new pieces that we can create those tough moments of toughness. Coming out of huddles, I thought we did a really good job out of timeouts. Sam, back to your question, what we did well, we executed plays I drew up that we haven't practiced. Makes me feel really good for what's going to come later down the pipe. And again, like today's film session is I'm going to start off. I always do good, bad, and ugly. So there's going to be a lot of goods to your point that I'm going to point out against a really good team that hopefully will keep moving our team higher and feeling confident so we can get better each month.
I read that Georgia State also forced 26 steals in its opener.
Yeah.
What did you kind of just see out of their defense in this matchup?
Yeah. Gene has done a really good job. Here was an interesting thing to that point. He's constantly every year increased their win total over the 4 seasons. And I think he's found an identity at Georgia State with some great athletes to muck it up, is what I say, where it's multiple presses, run and jump, 2-2-1, falling back into a matchup zone. They really do just try to get you off a normal practice. Like, that's not a normal team, right? So that part concerns me because of those turnovers you mentioned, that you've got to be really sharp. We can't overthink it. We got to take the right reads, and we got to take the right shots. And then no matter what, to your point, let's get the ball up there and go rebound the heck out of it so those turnovers don't give them confidence and make this a tighter game than it needs to be on Friday morning.
And so you coached with Gene, was it at Georgia Tech? Right?
Yeah, yeah.
What do you just remember about that time with him, and how do you guys stay in touch much?
Yeah. So Gene Hill is a big brother to me because in this business, I talk about it. It's the same I try to do for my staff. That's already 2 of them have gone on to be head coaches, and then I've got future stars on my staff. Is you take care of people, and what Gene did to me, for me at Georgia Tech, was unbelievable. I was a young, rising assistant coach, and he just was a big brother to help me behind the scenes, make sure I had the right relationship. Just a dude that's always been proud of me as much as I'm proud of him, and that's cool in this business because as kids and you're trying to get a leg up, but it's never been about that with me and him. It's been about true, genuine friendship, love for each other, and just, again, couldn't be more proud of each other's success and cheering for each other. And obviously it'll suck because we're going to have to play each other, but after this game, there's no doubt we'll continue to keep this bond and brotherhood.
More questions, guys?
Good. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Good questions, man.